Welcome on up to Castaway. It is January 21st, and we are going to talk about Goldeneye today.
Yay! Possibly also some other side subjects, because we can't fill the whole time with Goldeneye.
Obviously.
But since this is our 7th episode, decided to kind of do something themed, just for the heck of it.
Also, making his triumphant return to Castaway is Camo Yoshi.
Yay! Finally.
And you might be making it back more often now that you have less credits this semester.
Yes, I hopefully so, because I mean, only going over 2 days a week now, so we'll see. No promises. I don't make promises I can't keep, but we'll play it by ear and see how it goes.
Alrighty then. So let's see. What do you want to talk about first? Because
the
majority of our time will be swallowed by Goldeneye.
Absolutely. I just first want to make this is kind of almost required for me, since we are an online gaming podcast and we rely on fair use a lot, is thankfully SOPA has been shelved for now.
Yeah.
But Pippa is still out there and is probably going to be voted on eventually, so don't stop now. Keep calling your senators, keep letting everybody know, keep it popular. So if this thing passes, it could mean the end of us too. So you already saw what happened to Mega Upload, and who knows whose site could be next. It could be mine, it could be yours, it could be anyone's. So,
well, see, the thing I will say about Mega Upload, though, is that it was done with existing powers, and
yes,
does show that, obviously, if we can do it with existing powers, we really don't need SOPA.
Exactly. So, but anyway, just kind of had to make that announcement and make it public, if you will.
Yeah.
So, just, keep the pressure on and don't let it pass. So, that's all I got to say for that. But, let's get to our main subject now, Goldeneye. I'm thinking first let's start off with talking about our first memories of Goldeneye, maybe.
Okay.
I think that might be a good place to start. I started out actually playing Goldeneye at a local youth group of mine. I was about maybe 10, 11, 12, somewhere around that age. I go over there, they've got the N64 on, they've got the TV, they got Goldeneye, they got the 4 controllers, 4 people huddling around the TV, all screaming, playing some mode, I don't remember. But it looked like they were having a great time. I joined in, I had no idea what I was doing. I still had a great old time. I don't remember much from it, but certainly later on, we actually ended up getting the N64 along with Goldeneye and all the stuff that came with it from that same youth group after they decided to dump the N64 for an Xbox. Suckers. And so me and my dad would play it sometimes, and it was all good. So then I kind of fade back and forth between playing Goldeneye a whole bunch and being enthusiastic about it, and then just kind of like, I'm done for this for a while, and then just shelf it for a while and then come back to it. It's just kind of, for me, it's one of those games where, I'll just for a week or two, I'll be totally hooked on Goldeneye. I'll just play Goldeneye, and that's all that matters right now. It's Goldeneye. And then later on, like 1 or 2 weeks later, then I'll be like, time to move on to something else, and I'll start playing something else. So It's just kind of one of those games I just drop occasionally and then pick up and drop, just kind of spontaneously as I feel like it. But it certainly has fond memories for me, especially for the N64. The N64 was probably the first console for me that I actually can remember a lot of my gaming memories. With the Super Nintendo, I remember some, but not as much. Although the Super Nintendo still kind of has that nostalgic factor for me. The N64 still kind of has the same feelings, but they're more memorable for me. So, I don't know. That's kind of one of my most fond memories with the N64 is how great of a game GoldenEye is. And I'm aware that there's other 007 James Bond themed games, but none of them are remembered as well as GoldenEye. Flat out, I'll just say that right now. I don't care what your opinion is. There is no other game that people recognize than GoldenEye for the N64. Period.
Except for GoldenEye Rogue Agent, but that was mostly because everybody hated it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the exception, but that's because, everybody hated it. I mean, with the Super Nintendo and everything, I'd play like Super Mario Kart and a couple other games, but we pretty much got rid of our Super Nintendo before I can remember too much about it. However, with the N64, I mean, we still have that thing, so I've given away most of my games, including GoldenEye, to a good friend of mine, but I still really like the game. And it was probably what originally kind of got me into gaming in the first place, along with some of the racing games I played too, like Top Gear. But that's pretty much all I really got to say.
Yeah,
I don't really have anything else to say.
I remember the first time I played GoldenEye is my first console was an N64, and one of my brother's friends down the street also had an N64, and he had Super Mario 64 and GoldenEye, and we didn't. He had a much larger collection of games than we did. And I remember the first time I played GoldenEye, it was me and Tim and I believe two of my brothers, and we were up so late. We just kept playing that game, and it was not. I don't think we stopped for like 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was probably the first game I actually actively sought out and was like, I need to either rent or borrow this game from somebody. I think that was the first time I went out by myself and said, I need to get this game. And I do have it now.
Nice.
But, yeah, we had a really scarce collection of games back then. We had, maybe 6. And, in comparison to, other people we knew, they had, tons. But that was expected with the N64, because games were very expensive on the N64.
Yeah, they were. And, with my Super Nintendo, I had 30 games, although I got half those games as, oh, hey, I'm cleaning out your garage, found this game, do you want it? No, can I have it? Sure, kind of deal. Or, friends would give them to me because they were, outgrowing video games or something like that. But, the thing is that even though I had 30 plus games for the Super Nintendo, half of them didn't work, and most of them were really bad sports games that I can't even remember the titles from. And I mean, there were some games that were bad that I had that I actually enjoyed, the Super Nintendo port of Hard Drivin', I believe is what it's called, or maybe Race Drivin'. But it's basically a first-person's perspective driving simulator. And the Super Nintendo port is notoriously bad for its really bad frame rate. It's a really bad port. I'd say it's probably one of the worst ports of a former PC game / arcade game. So definitely the DOS port is the best.
Better or worse than Doom Wolfenstein?
A lot of people hate on the Doom port of Super Nintendo, and I would agree. Yes, it's bad, but I'd say that the worst port of Doom is probably the I can't think it's either the Sega Saturn or the 3DO port. One of them has really bad frame rate issues, really, really bad frame rate issues.
3DO.
I think it was the 3DO. So I don't think the SNES one is that bad. It's certainly bad. I'll agree with that, but I don't think it's terrible. So, I mean, at least it has good music. So, which I know is a cited point, frequently cited point for the for that port, but still, you can't argue the music is that music's probably the best. The only other console port of Doom, which I can barely even consider a port, is PlayStation Doom, which is more like a whole nother game in a good way.
I don't know. Did you ever play the Jaguar version?
Yes. Well,
there was no music.
Yes and no. There is no music. Yeah. But
it was really good.
That one at least had all the levels, or almost all of them at least.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Anyway, we got way off topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though I had 30 plus Super Nintendo games, not all of them worked, and a lot of them I didn't really even care playing. Although I had some of the popular ones. I had Super Mario World, Super Mario World 2, Super Mario Kart, What else did I have? Tetris 2, and a couple of others. I can't remember all of them I had, but I really enjoyed it. I know I didn't have any Super FX games, so any games with the Super FX chip in them.
Yeah.
I know I also didn't have Super Mario RPG. We didn't have any RPGs for my Super Nintendo, which I know it's kind of the premier RPG console, but I just wasn't into RPGs at that time, and I'm still not really too much into RPGs, honestly.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that with I noticed that there's a lot of people nowadays online making videos about NES and all the old nostalgic factor and all that kind of stuff. You know, AVGN and Pat the NES Punk and
Yeah.
you know, but I don't see that many number of reviewers that do that kind of style with the Super Nintendo. You know, like dedicated Super Nintendo.
Yeah, and I see even less for the N64.
And it's even less, yeah, for the N64. And I guess it's just because of the mentality of the people of that era have that kind of nostalgic factor.
Yeah.
So, but trying to move back to GoldenEye.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about our nostalgic feelings about the
absolutely.
game. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
I'd like to say that I think GoldenEye, along with many things about Nintendo, or the N64, that I've said in previous podcasts, is that I think it's possibly my favorite console of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm really a social gamer. Like I only play games a lot when I'm like with friends. But like that was the first time you could really have a gaming party, because there was 4 people at a time.
You could have sort of a LAN party almost.
Yeah. And then like with games like, you know, Mario Kart and GoldenEye especially, it's like, you know, hey, if you die or you lose a race, you can hand it off to the next person.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was sort of a round robin.
Yeah. And it was really...
Yeah, I mean, I fondly remember from some birthday parties ago, I would have I had a N64 tournament, which it was almost actually, this was before I even knew that the whole Iron Man of gaming exists, but it basically I had a whole bunch of ranged genre and different games in a tournament, and we would all compete to see who could defeat who in each game. So like I'd have, you know, Super Smash Brothers, Rush 2, I'd have I actually even implemented we actually had a race on Rayman 2 where you would have to complete the level as fast as you can. I would time people.
Oh, like a speed run?
Yeah, a speed run almost. And this is before I even knew that kind of stuff existed. You know, I didn't have Mario Party or anything. So I had to be kind of creative in my selection of games. You know, we had a GoldenEye Deathmatch, and
you always picked the one that made you win.
The one what?
Said you would always pick the one that would make you win.
I'm honestly, I don't think I'm that good at GoldenEye. Sometimes I'm really good and I just get a kill streak or something. But I think I really shine in the racing games department. I think I'm really good at racing games.
I just suck at games in general.
I think we all do, because, you know, there's always going to be something better than you. So that's how I always think, is this, you know, you certainly, you might think you're good, but there's always going to be somebody out there who's better than you.
And for me, it's that 13-year-old kid in COD who screams in their mic.
Yeah, for me, it's the 42-year-old Asian guy in, like, Taiwan or something.
Or those guys in Korea that play video games for a living.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah. So, any other kind of stuff you want to talk about in terms of GoldenEye?
In terms of like nostalgia, not really.
Not nostalgia, but I mean like just funny stuff you've seen over the years. You know, interesting stuff you've seen.
Oh, yes. I remember the first time I saw somebody rage over Odd Job.
Oh gosh,
that
was actually a rule I made. Whenever I played GoldenEye, I always said no odd job.
No odd job.
No
that was
odd
actually
job.
A really funny story.
Either nobody's odd job or everybody's odd job.
So, you know, being a kid, like everybody wants to be James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like, "Oh man, I want to be James Bond." No, I want to be James Bond. Of course, first player usually gets it.
Yeah.
So, I remember the first time I played with a couple of the guys I knew, was like way back, probably like 2nd or 3rd grade. Oh no, it probably would have been before that because I didn't have Goldeneye at that point. Yeah, it's probably 1st grade or kindergarten, and we were playing Goldeneye, and there's just some guys from my neighborhood, and one of them picked Odd Job, and of course I didn't really know any better. Like, I wasn't actively thinking like, oh man, he's gonna be shorter than everybody else. But when he did, one of I don't think he knew either. I don't. Cause
now that would have been kind of ironic.
He owned a PlayStation, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so we start playing, and of course, eventually we realize that he's shorter than everybody else. And one of the guys who had a very excitable temper and lived down the street from me got very angry and left.
Rage quit.
Yeah, he walked back to his house, and I remember thinking that was the first time I ever thought to myself, man, people get really upset over video games. And that was just the start of it.
That's classic. That is like total 5th or 5 or 6 year old mentality.
Yeah.
So.
Or everybody on the internet mentality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's see here. One thing I always noticed, and it kind of bothered me, is that with the golden gun, it's always one hit kill, right? But
yeah.
With the golden PP7, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a golden gun with a clip, or if it's supposed to be like almost as powerful as the golden gun. I never quite got that, because I always thought it was supposed to be basically as powerful as a golden gun, but instead it has multiple shots per clip.
Yeah.
So it's as powerful as the golden gun?
PP7?
The golden PP7.
The golden PP7? I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But
or if not, probably at least 70% of what it is.
Yeah. And I think the silver PP7 is supposed to be as powerful as the Cougar Magnum, but I don't know.
I don't know. I don't study Goldeneye. I didn't take Goldeneye 101 when I was, in school. But
that's an actual class? I should have taken that.
God, if that is real class, I'm gonna transfer to that school.
Yeah, definitely.
I know that there's not to get too off topic, but okay, you know the guy who founded Know Your Meme, Jamie Dubs?
I don't know him, but I do know KYM.
Okay, well, he taught a class at a college that was How to Be Internet Famous 101. And you started like a blog or a Twitter, and you were graded on how many followers you had at the end of the semester.
Nice. Nice.
I want to take that class. Anyway, but
I probably would have failed the class because I'm not interested in gaining a huge number of followers or anything.
It's really not that hard. You have to make a YouTube video where you talk about really obscene stuff and then have a high contrast icon for it. Anyway, but so yeah, that's pretty much all I have for like Goldeneye, like nostalgic memories.
Yeah, I gotta say, although thankfully with Goldeneye Source, it's made it so much easier to play Goldeneye online with other people.
That's actually one thing I want to talk about is Goldeneye like fan projects or remakes.
Yeah, and also don't forget about talking about like the new versions of Goldeneye, like Wii,
That's
Goldeneye
what I was
Wii.
thinking, like the remakes. Yeah. So one thing I want to say is that like obviously me and you play Goldeneye Source, or used to quite a bit before you got really busy. But
I'm sorry, life took over.
Just drop out.
No.
You have to choose between education and Goldeneye.
It's either social life plus good grades equals no sleep, sleep plus social life equals bad grades, or sleep plus good grades equals no social life. You have to pick one.
Hey, you're good with technology. Invent a time-stopping device. That's the answer.
I wish.
But, so, GoldenEye Source is, for those who don't know, it's essentially a source mod where they customized the gameplay settings and made custom, like, models and everything. and essentially plays just like Goldeneye on the Half-Life 2 engine. And
At least I'd say it plays fairly similar.
yeah,
So I'd say plays fairly similar as if GoldenEye for the N64 was put into the Source engine.
yeah.
I
Although
wouldn't
they
say
can-
it plays exactly like it.
Yeah,
but
not exactly, but I mean the rules essentially.
yeah, there's the same rules, but like the physics and everything
Yeah.
else feels a bit different. Plus, also the
Controls
levels
are so much better.
the levels are way expanded
Yeah.
too, which is pretty cool. And there's some new levels as well.
I just hope
I'm still waiting for them to make the dam level in G Source.
yeah. I will say that like controls are so much better, and the fact that you can have more than 4 people makes it so much fun.
Yeah, it does. It does. So,
But that's and there's also more new game modes now too.
oh really? I haven't played it in years, so I've been out of it.
Well, no, I mean like even when me and you were playing, there's more game modes in that than there are in.
Oh
original.
yeah, that too.
Yeah,
So- Plus, the cool thing is, like, I've even seen some mod game modes too. So,
yeah.
some people made their own game modes, which are pretty cool, I must admit.
And there's still like console commands that act as cheats, where it's like whatever, paintball.
G_paintball1.
Yeah.
I think
So
that
much
sounds
fun.
about right.
I still like how when you shoot the paintball, there's still the bullet fire afterward. When
Yeah.
yeah. Trying to think. Oh, the GoldenEye for Wii.
Mm.
I haven't played that. Have you?
I actually have it for Wii, so
Is
and
it
I have
good?
played it. It's imagine if you took the good things about Call of Duty and you added a GoldenEye sort of feel to it. That's kind of what it feels like. It has more of a cinematic feel. Like just the first dam level it's been stretched from like, you know, a 5 maybe 10 minute chore is now like a 30-minute kind of excursion, because you know, at first you start above where you would normally start in the original game, and you kind of like walk down and jump off, and you stealthily take out a guard by choking him, and like then you run over across the road and kind of hide behind a barrier while guys fire at you, and then you shoot, and then you take cover, reload. Eventually, at one point, you get into a truck and kind of get into a scripted sequence where both you and 006 are driving a truck, and you have to shoot guys as you go along in the truck. At one point, you know, you're going underground and destroying the computers, and it's way expanded there. You know, you're taking pictures of a helicopter.
Yeah.
And, yeah, there's a whole bunch of cinematic elements added to it, and it's good. I mean, I enjoy it. I'd say probably the only thing that really breaks it, at least for me, is that when I play first-person shooters, I really prefer a keyboard and mouse. And even with the classic controller, I still find it really awkward. People who play console FPSs all the time probably won't find it too awkward if you play with the classic controller. But trying to play with the Wii remote and a nunchuck, that's just like...
Well,
you have to be amazing god tier at aiming in order to do that.
I know that the one thing I don't like, honestly, about the classic controller, like, is it compatible with the GameCube controller?
I think it is.
Okay,
I believe so.
I much prefer GameCube controllers when playing Wii games, because I can't stand that the classic controller has no wings.
Oh, yeah. Well, they do have the classic controller Pro, which does have the wings.
Yeah, but I feel like it was dumb to release it with no wings in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, there's also the attachment you can get, the third-party attachment that adds the shell that basically makes it a classic controller Pro.
I never told you that people actually make shells like those for iPhones.
Oh my gosh,
They
that's
turn it into
just
a big
sad.
controller. I saw one at Walgreens. It was really funny.
That's just sad.
But yeah, so much fun though. Well,
Yeah, I'd say GoldenEye for Wii is enjoyable, especially if you don't have a computer that can game too well. And I mean, you do have online. I haven't played online yet, but I've heard it's pretty good. There's not too many people that are jerks on there. And you know, you get the whole friend code thing and everything like that.
Yeah.
You know, Nintendo style online gaming, which I mean, for free, not that bad. I mean, I'm willing to deal with the whole friend code there's limited social interaction kind of deal. I don't mind that too much, considering the fact that it's completely free. But the thing that just really breaks it for me is the controls. So the controls I just can't get used to because I am not a console FPS player. I still prefer to have my FPSs on my PC. So
the thing that breaks it for me is, I mean, I even played it, but I knew the moment I knew I would not play this game is when it didn't have the original soundtrack.
Yeah, that's one thing that kind of disappointed me. As I was looking forward to when I turned it on, I was looking forward to hearing like some sort of cool remix of the original N64 game, and that kind of disappointed me.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it isn't their fault because it's legal issues.
Yeah, with Rare and everything.
Yeah, that's God. It was just so disappointing.
Yeah, it was kind of let down, but it's still a pretty good game. If you want to play a new GoldenEye, or if you've never played the original and you don't want to go through the trouble of getting an N64 and everything, which it's not that hard, but still, if you'd prefer to just keep everything to one console, if you're only allowed to have one console at a time, give GoldenEye Wii a shot.
Yeah,
it's worth it. So it's fun, especially the multiplayer just feels just as if I'm playing the N64 version with that whole essence of, oh my gosh, you got that kill on me! How did you get that kill on me? That kind of deal. So, and you still have the modes and everything. The maps aren't there, but the replacement maps are certainly a good enough substitute. So, if you are playing it though, I'd recommend getting a high definition television because I've played on our standard def TV, and it is almost impossible to see anyone if they are a somewhat far distance away. So, but yeah.
Alrighty then.
And also the weapons. The weapons aren't the same as they were in the original. You've got more of a actually kind of a interesting. This is where the Call of Duty element kind of comes in. Is that you actually have loadouts. You can't customize these loadouts at all, but they come preset with like perks that you have. And they also have they have a main weapon, a sidearm, which is generally like a pistol, and then you'll also have like maybe 3 or 4 grenades, depending on your loadout. So my personal favorite is the one with the rocket launcher. You only get 2 shots, but man, those 2 shots are so satisfying. Because the guy's sitting up there in the tower, he's just like, do. I shoot the rocket, he turns around, what the fuck, boom! It's totally worth it.
Do you think it's as fun when the people who are playing with you aren't sitting next to you?
I think there's benefits and downsides to both types of situations. With GoldenEye Source, when you're playing online, you still kind of have that essence, but it feels, I don't mean to be cliche, but it almost feels distant. It feels distant. The person isn't right there next to you. You aren't like elbowing each other or screen looking. Hey, stop screen looking, Or
pulling at each other's controllers.
They're pulling at each other's controllers, There's not those kind of shenanigans, which, if you want to be serious and not goof around and you're taking your match seriously, then yeah, that's a benefit, but you kind of lose that whole social aspect of GoldenEye, just sitting on your couch with your buddies with some pizza and soda and just playing GoldenEye.
Now see, in Source you can voice chat,
but
how is like you can't even do that in Wii version, can you?
I don't think you can, but I think you can assign like 4 preset messages to buttons. Say, like a game or next match, or you kind of get the idea. Kind of like Mario Kart Wii.
Nothing offensive.
Yeah, nothing offensive. So, which kind of felt like a step backwards to me, especially when they had probably Nintendo's first FPS that had voice chat, which was Metroid Prime Hunters for the DS.
Yeah.
I think that's what's called. Where they had voice chat as long as you had friend codes exchanged. But how do I put it? How do I put this? It just feels like it's a step backwards in that sense, but it's at the same time, it almost feels appropriate because it's Nintendo.
Yeah.
So, but that's really all I've got to say. Is overall, GoldenEye Wii's good game. It's certainly not up to caliber with the N64 version or Source, but it's a decent substitute.
Okay.
So, and it's only for Wii, so if you have a 360 or PS3, now you have an excuse to get a Wii.
No, not really, because there's Halo and games that have better control schemes now.
Oh, come on. Halo is not the same as GoldenEye.
But see, the one thing I will give Halo is that, despite the fact that it isn't as pure fun as GoldenEye, if you play some of the community maps, it is one of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah, I have to say, the only Halo game I've ever played was Halo 1, and I was at a LAN party with like 32 other guys.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a lot of fun, you know. Even though I had no clue what I was doing, most of the time just using the Warthog to run over people, whether they were on my team or not. It was still a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And it actually kind of felt like it captured that GoldenEye essence again. And I remember watching a video on your favorite website, Screw Attack. They were talking about that the original Halo actually made Xbox Live before there was Xbox Live.
Oh, yeah.
So that way you could have online matches in Halo. So,
Is that the one where Chad was talking about where he like brought his TV and his Xbox over to his friend's house?
no, I think it was top 10 FPSs.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, way old video, I believe. But yeah, I mean, with the original Halo was good, but the rest of them, I don't know. I'm kind of iffy. It just doesn't look as good as it was the original. So
Honestly, 2, nah. But 3, the thing about 3 is that they brought back a lot of the things from the first one, like indestructible vehicles and whatnot, but they also made map editing, which basically turned it into like FPS Little Big Planet. And it's a lot of fun.
nice.
But anyway, back on topic. So, any more stuff that you want to talk about?
Well,
as
in
far
terms of GoldenEye, how about like weird glitches or other weird happenings? You know, almost paranormal activity, if you will.
I'm trying to think of anything I've had like that.
Yeah, I think this will mostly relate to the N64 game, which is pretty glitchy sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so much fun, is the crazy physics, the thing that doesn't make any sense, you know, guys run around inside the doorways trying to get in or out somewhere, or you go right up to an enemy and they don't shoot at you at all.
Yeah. Oh, just not really glitch, but just the body physics in GoldenEye. Those always threw me off.
That's kind of the charm for me, is just the hilarious body physics.
Also,
it gets even
like,
more ridiculous when you turn on DK mode.
yeah. Also, like, like when
I've never seen James Bond look that stupid.
when you like walk up to enemies and you like look them straight in the face, and there's this like awful face texture.
Oh my gosh!
That
yeah.
just
like one of them has like serious dental issues and sneering problems.
Oh god, is the blonde one?
I'm not sure which one it is.
It's like bleach blonde.
Oh yes, that guy.
Yeah.
He's like,
I hate that guy.
Missing a few chromosomes.
Yeah. Oh, that might have been offensive. Anyway, but yeah, that's pretty those are always like so funny to me.
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else.
I've had a couple times where I would actually complete the required objectives perfectly, and it wouldn't credit me, and so I'd still fail the mission. I'm like,
Yeah, that's happened to me a few
all
times.
over again. That was one thing that always kind of bothered me about the N64 version of GoldenEye, is that if you failed, you didn't really know what to do. Like, I mean, I know it's kind of commonplace nowadays for, you know, games to tell you exactly what to do and everything, but the thing is that it was just so general in terms of your objectives. It was just like, you know, I'm trying to think of one. Like, I'm trying to think of one that really confused me. Like,
Okay.
shoot, I'm trying to remember.
What was...
Oh, I remember. It's the Siberia one where you have to somehow disable the satellite. I didn't know that you had to
turn it off. You
turn
shut the
it off
computers, right?
up the computer. Instead, what I was doing is I was destroying the satellite dish.
Ha!
And then that would cause the mission to fail. I'm like, what? But I shut off the communications. What do you mean?
I blew up the computers.
Yeah, well, even if you... well, the thing was is that if you blew up the computer, I remember, then it would start up the backup, and then it would still start transmitting warnings and stuff, so...
Yeah, it would be like, you failed to destroy the thing. What?
And then also on top of that, there was also the one mission where you return to Siberia, and if you accidentally go up to the radio and press the use button, it'll like contact the guards. And then so you fail the mission if you accidentally like go up to it and press the use button. It's like, oh, crap.
I remember the first time I was playing, I think it was the Siberia mission, and I walk up to like what is it, an alarm?
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was.
I'm like, what's this red thing? Oh no! Yeah, that was kind of frustrating. And then also the thing is that they didn't always make it clear on not necessarily what you need to do, but what it was you need to do too. So like on this one part where you're going through this bunker, you have to take pictures of the satellite. Well, a couple rooms before, there's also another piece of satellite-looking equipment, and there's also another piece of satellite-looking equipment. So it's like, which one do you want me to take a picture of? So
the one that I always found hardest.
And the other thing that was kind of, it almost feels like a slap to the face, was that if you failed the mission, it didn't like cause you to quit immediately. Instead, you just could run around like an idiot, saying, now what? So
I wish that the one thing that annoyed me was do you remember the block level? It was in that really like dimly lit Soviet park.
Oh yes, that one.
With
where
all like the weird.
There's just a bunch of random junk lying around. It doesn't make any sense.
I had no idea where the hell to go.
Yeah, exactly. What I found out is that you first had to contact this one dude by going
in a trailer.
Yeah, you get inside a trailer thing, and then you have to go over to the statue of Lenin and hide behind it for like 10 seconds, and then you come out, and Janice is like surrounded you with 006, and he like, I didn't know that I had to put my gun away, and so he was like, we meet again, James, and then his guards start attacking me, and I'm like, wait, what? And so then I found out you had to put the gun away, and then he teases me. He says, "No gun, James. MI6 must be cutting their budget nowadays." And I'm like, "Oh, that's just rude. That's just mean. You just don't do that."
You don't know.
But yeah, it was certainly one of my less favorite missions.
Yeah.
So, especially the whole where you have to get back to the chopper before it explodes. That's just... Ugh.
I always felt like the not fun missions were the ones that like required you to like take time. On the other hand, the best missions were like the ones like Train where you just kind of ran and it was like really like adrenaline pumping.
Woohoo! Just sprinting through, killing everybody. Yeah, I would have to say the Train one was fun. Although that part where you have to use your watch laser to cut a hole in the floor.
Oh god,
that
so screwed me over.
So,
but then there's the worst part of the game, which is Natalia. Which is where we're talking about glitches. That is the majority of where all the glitches come from.
The majority of where all mission failures come from. You're shooting somebody, and all of a sudden she runs in front of you, and you kill her, and the mission's over.
Or she'll, like, for some reason, be like running into a wall, and you can't get her to follow you, or stupid stuff like that.
Especially, the level that I failed on the most, because Natalia kept dying, was the stupid level, it was just after the jungle level, and you're inside the bunker, and she's hacking computers. You have to protect her. And there's guys just coming everywhere. There's guys coming out of the walls, out of the ceiling, out of the TV screen. It's just like, I can't kill all these guys fast enough. So, That, and also in the jungle level, she's always constantly running around and often in your line of fire. You're like, Natalia, get out of the way! I'm shooting a gun! Do you want to die?
Apparently.
Yeah. What else was there? There was also one other level I really despised. Oh, I know which one it was. It was the level where you're locked up and you first meet Natalia.
Oh, when you get arrested or whatever.
Yeah, when you get, like, imprisoned. And I didn't know that you had to select your gadget and get the key through magnetic whatever. But the thing that kind of bothered me about that is that when you use it, it just kind of like sits there for a couple seconds and all of a sudden the key disappears and it says key added to your inventory. What bothered me is that they didn't show it like slowly floating towards you like it was an actual magnet or anything.
Well, I don't think they even could have done that in the N64 days, you know.
It was possible. I mean, at least if you could just have the key floating towards you, even if it was just like, you know, slowly towards you in like a straight line or something, at least it would show that you did it right. But half the time, you know, the first time I was in there, I was like, now what do I do?
Yeah. Alright, so anything else we need to talk about GoldenEye-wise?
If you haven't played it, play it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the, like, if you are even semi-interested in first-person shooters, you need to play at least some iteration of this game.
Absolutely. Whether you prefer the fantasy FPSs, strategic FPSs, the realistic war simulation FPSs, doesn't matter. You really need to play GoldenEye because it's definitely one of the granddaddies.
We would not have first-person shooters as they are today without GoldenEye.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Screwtax picked it like 4 or 5 times for their top points. I don't know how they did it, but they somehow pulled it off.
There's some comment the other day that was really angry. He was like, Screwtax always like, and our list is the only right one, and I'm like, dude, you have to understand, it's a joke.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yep.
In terms of GoldenEye. Now we're just going to talk about less related subjects. I'm first going to talk about really neat I would call it a fan NES game. It goes by the name Abobo's Big Adventure. And it is basically a nostalgia mashup of a whole bunch of old school NES games that they incorporate all into one big game. And it's actually really cool. It's very fun. The controls are perfect. I mean, they are absolutely amazing. So, and you first start out, you know, it has a Double Dragon style intro, and so the whole gist of the plot is that you're a Bobo and your son gets kidnapped, Double Dragon style, punched in the gut, and gets picked up and carried off. And then you go after the guys and on your way beat up everybody. And so you finish the Double Dragon level and everything. You kill the boss with the conveyor belt. It's some dude with a gun. And then after that, you go into, I believe, I'm trying to remember, but you go into a whole nother game, basically. I believe you actually go into a level 1-3 of Super Mario Brothers, and you're swimming along, and now instead of punching and kicking, now you swim, and then you basically do a Yoshi tongue, and you like grab fish and then spit them out to kill other fish and bloopers and stuff. And at one point you run into a giant fish that spits Robo Shrimp from Mega Man. You have to kill that, and then you run into Bubble Man from Mega Man. You have to kill him. And at one point you run into Carnove from Carnove on the NES, and you kill him.
Yeah.
And then at one point, the final boss of the World 1-3 Super Mario Brothers level is Jaws from the NES game Jaws. You actually kill it, and then at one point, after killing Jaws, then you face like a huge version of Jaws that has like a laser on his head. Shark lasers for the win. And so then you kill that, and then you go into a pipe, and you go out of there, and then you go into Urban Champion, and then you play Urban Champion with a Bobo. You beat the guy back like 3 times, the screen scrolls, and then you knock him into you don't quite knock him into a manhole, but basically then after you kill him, he gets dizzy, and then it does Mortal Kombat style finish him.
I'm gonna go ahead and
finish him off.
I'm gonna go ahead and cut you off so that when people play the game, they won't know what's happening quite yet.
But yes, it's absolutely fun. You can play it on abobosbigadventure.com. It's also on Newgrounds, and it's a great game. I'd absolutely recommend it for any person who's into retro NES games, or even if you're not. It's just a fun game.
Yeah.
There's lots of cool, not only throwbacks, but there's also lots of cool Easter eggs and everything. Though I will say one thing is that if this were a game to be released today, it'd probably be at least rated teen. So that wouldn't even be existing on NES. There's gore, and there's references to alcohol use, but it's still a lot of fun. I'd recommend it.
Funny thing I want to say is that you said you meet up with Karnov.
Yes.
Well, Abobo is the bad guy from Double Dragon originally.
Yep.
And then you said Karnov from NES. Well, in Bad Dudes, which was a sort of a Double Dragon clone, Karnov was the first boss.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Data East put him in there as the first boss in Bad Dudes.
Interesting. Wait, doesn't Data... if Abobo is from Double Dragon, that means Technos Japan owned him. So how did Data East get Abobo into their game?
No, not Abobo. They put Karnov.
Oh, Karnov. Oh, okay. Is Bad Dudes owned by Data East?
I think it is, yeah.
Because if it wasn't, I'd say that'd probably be copyright infringement.
No, I want to say Bad Dudes is by Data East, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's a great game. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a great game. And all I gotta say is that the whole description is pretty much abbreviated. You're gonna see a lot more than that in those first couple levels. So I still haven't beaten the game yet because I'm having trouble getting past the Mega Man stage, which is hard. The boss is just, like, hard.
Yeah, it's so fucking hard.
Yeah, it's mainly because I suck at Mega Man, but that's a different story.
That's a story for another time when we can ridicule him.
Yeah. I'll go get in my corner and cry now.
Speaking of ridiculing, you might notice that Shoota's not here. That's because we ridiculed him into a corner where he has to recover.
He still hasn't changed his status on Skype. He still says he's busy playing Deus Ex.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was like, have you been playing it for the past 5 months?
If so, that would be an impressive record.
I don't think impressive is more like obsessive.
Yeah, impressive, obsessive.
It all rhymes. Anyway, so I guess it's my turn,
Rhymes.
Right? Rhymey-wimey.
Yeah.
So it's my turn?
Yep, it's your turn. You get to talk about whatever... I don't even remember what you're talking about.
Katawa Shoujo.
Is that how you pronounce it?
That is how you pronounce it. But guess what it translates into?
I don't even want to know.
It translates literally into crippled girls.
What is wrong with you?
It's
terrible.
I didn't know that until after I started playing. Though we'll say
you learned that from the Encyclopedia Dramatica article I sent you.
No, there's actually a Wikipedia article for the game, and that's where I figured out about it.
Oh, okay.
In fact, Katawa or whatever, Katawa is actually a very offensive term in Japan, apparently.
Jeez.
And people were really upset over that, and I don't know, but
you're a terrible person.
I'm not a terrible person, okay? I didn't name the game. It's not my fault. Though we'll say somebody on DeviantArt actually made really funny Valentine's cards that have like the best puns ever. Like, I'll talk about it in a minute after I explain it. Basically, in Katawa Shoujo, it's a light novel / or visual novel / like dating sim thing. except for it takes place inside of a school for the disabled, because you, the player character, his I don't know how to pronounce it.
He had a heart attack because he ate too many pizzas topped with lard.
Yes, actually, no.
According to Encyclopedia Dramatica, which I would consider the most reliable source on the internet.
Oh, absolutely. No, you have. Actually, I'll tell you a funny part about that later. But he has congenital heart arrhythmia. I really hope at some point here you're gonna start feeling like shit because you're making fun of disabled people.
But they're not real.
And neither is congenital heart arrhythmia. I totally forgot they made that up too.
Wait, what?
I said, and congenital heart arrhythmia isn't real either. They made that up too.
Wow.
It's all a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy theory.
Nope, it's just a game theory.
Oh, you had to steal that, didn't you?
He does it to himself.
Now MatPat's gonna hate us.
He says even worse puns, alright? Which reminds me, he's actually the reason I downloaded this game, so you can blame him. Anyway, so you end up going to a school for the disabled where you meet, I think it's 5 different girls, and you have like branching paths based on answers to questions and decisions you make, and what one you end up with in the end, or if you end up with none and you die.
Gee, that's original.
I'm not going to tell you exactly how you die, but the option to die, or the way you die, is titled "Manly Party with Kenji."
No comment.
It's not what you think, but it does give that impression. It's really funny. But this game is the reason I want to talk about it is that it's really getting into series mode here. It's really been hailed as one of the things that it's pushing the forefront of having disabled characters in video games, because if you think about it, video games haven't really portrayed accurately or portrayed whatsoever, now that I think about it, disabled characters in video games. I don't think I've ever seen anybody who doesn't have arms or has any sort of bodily defect to them be a main character in a game, let alone a romantic interest. And
that's just creepy.
What?
Yeah, never mind. All I gotta say is the first picture on the ED article is, if you find 5 real-world cripples that are as attractive as this, then I'll give you a prize.
Ouch. Cripples are people too, damn it. Anyway.
I am so evil. Anyway.
You really are. But, it really, people saying it for once also as not just in video games, but as far as any medium ever, it really does portray disabled individuals more as people than just tragedies in themselves. Like, they have emotions and things other than, you know, I'm depressed because I have no arms. Did you just snicker at that?
Just the way you said it was kind of funny.
Okay, I'll give you that. But, yeah, it's really good, and honestly, it has some of the best written characters I've ever seen in a video game. And honestly, I'd put it in my top 5 video games everybody must play. Not because I'm saying you'd like it, but because of the way that it really does represent disabled individuals. It's really, really good. But
I see.
But no, what I was going to tell you about somebody made Valentine's cards for each one of the characters, and the one for and they each have like puns on them. Or let me see if I can pull it up. I'm gonna read them to you.
Yeah, I don't think I want to know.
No, these are funny, and they're not overly offensive. Okay.
They're not overly offensive, but they're still offensive.
A little bit. All right. So, the girl who is blind, her card is, "I have eyes only for you."
I have no comment.
The girl with no arms, "You and me go hand in hand."
Oh gosh.
The girl who has major skin burns, "You have set my heart afire."
Oh.
The girl with no legs, "You sweep me off my feet."
Oh.
And the mute girl, "You leave me speechless."
Why? Why?
And the way they're drawn though, it's really cute because it's like you want to be offended but you can't because they're like they're like little cute drawings. It's so hard to like say and not be offended, but somehow you just do it.
According to Encyclopedia Dramatica, closed curtains thwart snipers. This makes about as much sense as a monkey piloting an aeroplane.
I thought about that too during the game when Kenji says that. I was like, how is that gonna thwart anything? They're bullets.
Yep.
He was talking about like building a fortress to stay away from the high school festival or something stupid like that. Because actually, one thing you might enjoy from that game is that your across the hall roommate is a conspiracy theorist named Kenji who believes that feminists are trying to take over the world.
Where do people get these ideas?
Japan.
Stay classy, Japan.
Yep. Stay classy by making disabled girl dating games.
Anyway.
Actually, it wasn't made in Japan. Let me go ahead and clarify that. It was made by people who met on 4chan. Which, it does...
Oh, so Encyclopedia Dramatica was right about that, though.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They did meet in a 4chan thread. So, yeah.
Okay then.
But it's not as bad as that... it's not as bad as that would leave connotation-wise.
Yeah.
Anyway, so... I guess it's time for Song of the Month, isn't it?
Yep, and crap, I didn't think about one, but I will...
You got 30 seconds on the clock.
Yep, I will pull up one in just a moment. Come on. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Recently, I downloaded the Space Invaders Extreme soundtrack, which actually had an official release by the name of Space Invaders Extreme Audio Cluster. And it was... I don't know if you know this, but Taito actually has their own music group called Zuntata. You might know them. And basically, they make all of Taito's music in their games. And so Space Invaders Extreme basically actually takes Space Invaders and turns into a music/rhythm game. And it's really actually a great game. I really enjoy it. It's for the Nintendo DS. And that's basically it. You pretty much just shoot invaders to the beats of music and to get power-ups and that kind of thing. So it's pretty cool. The song I have here is called Invade You. It's from Stage 1. And
that sounds kind of dirty.
And it's a good song. I kind of like it. So, and the cool thing is that they actually, for all the songs in the album, pretty much, they actually have them all on almost as if they are on a preset. What's the word I'm looking for? A preset style, almost. Like you'll hear. Basically, each song has sort of a preset beat to it, as well as a preset melody, and then each song has its own sort of individual notes and sound effects and everything, and then they basically just filled in the blanks for each one, and it makes the songs really unique. Because, you know, about like halfway through, then you'll start hearing the song of, or the sound of the base shooting, like your little spaceship shooting, but each shot sound is different. So, and then, you know, you start hearing like the enemies getting killed after you start hearing the shooting, and each sound of the enemies dying is a different sound as well. It's a really unique soundtrack, and it's really cool. So anyway, we'll play that. So that was my pick for the Song of the Month. And now we have questions.
Yes, we do. 3 of them.
3
all
questions.
All from Joe Shadowman over on Screw Attack.
Joe Shadowman.
Thank you for being the first person to ever care. Now,
not the first person ever.
We had the first person to care this much.
The first person to care this much. Thank you.
I just got the weirdest text. My friend said she got a job as a tattoo apprentice.
That'll be interesting.
Yep. Anyway.
So first question is, do you find the word geek offensive? If so, do you want to be called person with higher knowledge of insert subject here? I don't find the word geek offensive at all.
Not really.
Not really. Geek can mean a whole lot of different terms, but because there's lots of subgenres of geekdom, if you will.
Yeah.
And I honestly take it as a compliment. And I say, well, thank you, because I work with computers a lot, so I work with a lot of people that have problems with computers, and they always refer to me as this one kid, he's a computer geek, and he fixed my computer and did all these great things, and I kind of take that as a compliment. So I certainly don't see it as a offensive term at all.
I don't see it as overly offensive, but it really depends on who says it.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, when they were in Congress and they were saying nerd and geek a whole lot, I felt like it was just, not appropriate considering the situation.
Yeah. There's certain situations where it's appropriate. So.
Yeah, but on the majority, I really don't care.
Yeah, I generally don't either. So.
Right.
And then the second question is, if SOPA were to pass, do you think the video game industry would survive? I would think probably what would happen is we would see a lot less fan-generated content. I think that's a given. Because if SOPA were to pass, companies that are concerned about people stealing any sort of copyrighted material, or I should say stealing as a loose term, under Fair Use Act. Because with SOPA, you're not allowed to use stuff fairly. You're not allowed to use copyrighted material provided that you give citation.
Yeah.
To that company. Stealing is obviously, saying, oh, I took Mario and I made him and blah, blah, blah. But if you have works that include him, but you don't claim copyright, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's good. It's free advertising. So...
I will say one thing is that I think it would be around, but the thing is, all reviews would be biased, because the only way to use copyrighted content to present a game in a review is if the company approves it.
Yep.
So the only way to get an approved review, obviously, would be to have it be praising the game,
despite its flaws, if any.
So video game journalism would effectively be out of commission. Yeah.
So, and then I would also think that game mods, game mods especially, those would be significantly diminished. Hosting your own game server would be like the good old days. You would have to buy your own server and pay for a monthly fee. I think a lot of the things that what makes gaming great and makes it so social would probably be destroyed, if not crippled.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see what I did there. Anyway.
Oh, God. Oh. You bastard.
Yeah, I know. Anyway. So, yeah, that's just my honest opinion with SOPA. So, okay. Anyway, last question. And Joe Shadowman says, I have a question, obviously. What is the best concept for a game that you thought was cool but didn't get made? That is an excellent question. I can't think of any concepts that I've ever had for a game and not seen them get made. I guess I'm just not a very creative person.
I have one that I really want to get made, but I can't do it, and I don't know anybody who really could. But I know people who could, but I don't know anybody who will. I had an idea back when I was considering game development as a career, which I'm definitely not now. Is to have an RPG where random encounters or boss battles or any kind of battle wouldn't be fought out in turn-based, it'd be fought as a fighting game.
Interesting. So it would kind of have Street Fighter or something similar, kind of one of those beat 'em ups, but your performance would be based on your statistics, and you would earn experience after the battle.
Yeah.
That would actually be kind of doable, and actually that would be pretty interesting.
And just like RPGs, you can unlock moves, but unlike, where you just go to magic and you press, you have to, like, understand the button combo. Kind of like in games like Devil May Cry, where you, like, to have a special ability, you learn the button combo and you can use it freely in combat. Except for it'd be like a fighting game where it's not a beat 'em up, but it'd be like one-on-one.
Interesting.
Or if there's like a party of 3, it's like 3 drop in, drop out. Like kind of like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Interesting. Yeah, I think although my question would be is that on the actual map would you be able to like see enemies before so that way you could avoid random battles if you wanted to, or would it just be totally random? Like,
see, that's the thing, is that I would think it would be, if I made it, it would be more along the lines of I'm trying to think of a good way to explain it. Okay, have you ever played Breath of Death?
No.
Okay.
I have not played Breath of Death.
It is essentially Final Fantasy 1, where it's like top-down, but without the grinding.
Okay.
Where it's like and your health is refilled after every battle.
Okay.
So that's good. But and so you just you go forward, and the enemies level up naturally as if you were to do no grinding.
Interesting.
So that's probably how I would have it, where it's a lot like Final Fantasy, except for I'd probably have to adjust it more to be like Breath of Death, because obviously nobody's gonna really grind through fighting matches unless you were like playing with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually that would be something neat to have like simultaneous multiplayer, have like 2 enemies versus you and your friend, and you guys are playing at the same time fighting the 2 enemies.
Yeah.
That would be pretty interesting. I think for the random encounters, how it should work is it should be is you would be able to see the enemies on the overworld, kind of like Earthbound, and you could avoid them. Plus, you also have the auto win thing, where if you're super powerful, then you don't have to waste time with.
But see, that's the thing, though, is that the reason I want to make this game is that I would want it to be where you didn't get too powerful.
Interesting.
I want it to be like a fighting game where the battles don't feel like a chore.
Okay.
Where no matter what, you do enjoy it, because it's that kind of fast-paced action, which is one of the things I hate about RPGs, is that they just kind of seem to drone on during battle instead of being very adrenaline-pumping.
Yeah, more action-oriented.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh.
That would be one.
That would be a neat concept.
And honestly, if I could find a developer who wasn't working on something, I would tell them. I'd be like, this is a great idea for a game, make it. But, I have no sway in the video game industry. So.
Well, I actually, just hearing this, I actually kind of came up with a concept. This has actually already kind of been done in the form of a DigiPen project, but basically it would be a first-person shooter where you would take the role of antivirus, you would go through the directory structures on your computer, and it would make rooms based on those directory structures, and you'd be able to see 3D implementations of all your files, and you'd basically go around and kill viruses.
I actually, I made a machinima film based on something like that.
Yeah, and there's actually, there actually is a game out there. I need to look it up, but I think it's called like FPFS or something like that. But it only runs on XP, unfortunately, because it's so old. But it's actually a great game. I really enjoy it. It's if you just Google FP-FS, you should be able to get the first DigiPen link. But basically, you go around, you kill viruses, and these viruses are actually based on real-life viruses that existed previously, like Bugbear and Nimda, and other stuff like that. And the cool thing is that you kind of have you have one weapon which is modifiable when you go up to a file and right-click on it. Then you'll change your gun type. So you can have like a laser, like almost a rail gun. You can have machine gun. You can have a shotgun-esque kind of deal. You can have lots of different types of guns, and then you also have a right-click sort of tractor beam, or almost a gravity gun-esque, where you can basically pick up files and move them around. And also these viruses, some of these viruses behave differently. Like, there's some that are really small and they zip around, you have to kill them. There's some that are floating in the air and you have to kill those. There's some that they go for the nearest file they can. They sit on it for a couple seconds and it infects the file, and the file starts shooting at you. And it's a really great game. And if you have XP, or if you're able to get it running on Windows 7 somehow, I'd take a look, because it's a lot of fun, and I'd recommend it. I only wish they expanded the concept further, because it never really got beyond beta stage per se.
2 more games I'd like to see made. These are very short because I've only thought about them a little bit, unlike that Street Fighter RPG thing, because I really want that to be made. But one is Jack Thompson the Game. Where you go, it's kind of like the Political Machine, but like somewhere between the political machine and a visual novel, where like you go around and you make decisions while you're campaigning and stuff like that.
If I recall correctly, there was actually a game based on a real life campaign for the ColecoVision. AVGN briefly reviewed it, and it's unique. I'll leave it at that. It's unique.
Yeah, but I would like to see that, just because it'd be Jack Thompson, and that would be funny.
That would be hilarious.
I was thinking that if it was Jack Thompson...
I would love to see the look on his face once he finds out a game like that exists.
I would think that if it was Jack Thompson, one of the endings, I would have it have multiple endings. One of the endings is that he goes crazy and kills everybody. I know not to be offensive, but like shoots up a school, and just the fact that it'd be so ironic.
Yes, that would be hilarious.
And the second one that I just forgot about. Oh, I want a Batman game like Arkham Asylum, but you play as the Joker.
Interesting. So you play as the villain instead of the hero.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because people have done that before. Like, have you ever heard of The Darkness?
No, I haven't heard of that.
In that game, you play as a mobster. Who actually gets taken over by like demonic forces or something. But it's really cool because you play as the villain, and it's just lots of fun to just kill everybody. But I'd like to actually make it more like nuts than that, because the thing is, obviously the Joker is insane. Or Tunic. I'm not gonna go into that right now. But because I did like a full study on his insanity one time. But
for your psychology class?
No, actually, I haven't taken psychology. I was just bored, and I watched Matt Pat's episode of Game Theory, and he talks about it. I was like, wait. And I like Matt Pat, but he could have gone way more detail than that.
Yeah.
But no, I want just going through the mind of the Joker, like having hallucinations and stuff while you're playing, and just fighting people and. More of his internal struggle, but presented through the game.
That kind of actually sounds a bit like the Suffering.
Yeah, okay. I could see that. But I'd have it, yeah.
But it would be a bit more lighthearted, I guess. in terms of lightheartedness. Because, I mean, it's the Batman world instead of a haunted prison or something.
Yeah.
So
I like parts where it still be, I like it to be, very kind of offbeat, funny, like the Joker, but I'd also like parts of it to be very in depth, like you're looking through his mind. Like if you've ever read, do you read comics?
Not typically.
Have you ever heard of the one that's The Killing Joke?
No, I haven't.
Well, that was a really famous Batman comic where they really do get into why he became the Joker and stuff like that. I'd like it to be like that, where parts of the time he's being very lighthearted and funny, and then he immediately switches to being incredibly grave and serious. I don't know, just something like that. I'd just really like to see the Joker explored more in video games.
Interesting.
Yep.
That's certainly some unique concepts, and I kind of like that. I kind of like some of your ideas. They're pretty cool.
Thank you. Now, if I can learn to do anything with computers.
Anyway, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah. So thank you for coming out and listening to Castaway.
Yep, just going to take care of some administrative tasks. We are moving websites currently. Still in the process. We are moving from ihateapple.clanteam.com to ihateapple.heliohost.org. That's HELIOHOST.org, all one word. The site's been up and down recently. HelioHost hasn't been doing too good in terms of uptime, so I might move again, see if I can find a better web host, but hopefully I don't have to do that.
And currently, if HelioHost isn't working for you, we do still have our old website up. So
yeah, I'm going to keep that old website up until we can get HelioHost working reliably.
Yeah.
So anyway, I also implemented a live game server list that gives us the status of our one game server on Skulltag, which is now being co-located.
More may be coming soon.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I'm going to get into that in a bit, but basically the server is currently being hosted for free by the owner of WadHost, which also hosts a large number of Doom mods and is probably one of the biggest Doom mod repositories on the internet, wadhost.fathacks.com. And I gotta say is that big thanks and big shout out to him, because he's willing to host our server for free, and he's paying for a VPS, which is not cheap. So
yeah, big thanks to that guy for
thanks to that guy. He rocks. So, but that and it's basically we got it changed up, so now it's running Brutal Doom co-op with Titan.wad, which is a fantastic, absolutely fantastic level pack. If you look it up on the Doom World /id Games archive, it's gotten rave reviews for being an excellent, well-balanced level pack.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of Doom, but I love Brutal Doom. It's so much fun. It
is, absolutely. It hits a whole new spin on Doom. It almost feels like it's modernized, but still keeps all the retro feel.
Yeah.
It almost could feel like a Doom 4, almost. It's almost Doom 2.5.
It's what Doom 3 needed to be.
Yeah, I'd say
instead of that stupid flashlight holding.
Yeah. Although let's see, I don't think we have any other administrative tasks I can think of. Other than that is just be aware of the website change, and I'll set up, once we finally migrate completely over, I'll set up a redirect from the old site. That's pretty much it. I'm glad I'm back.
I'm glad you're back too, because Shuda is intolerable. I hate that guy.
Wait, you remember, he's listening. He might be listening to a podcast.
Nobody cares. I'm kidding, Shuda, I love you. And if you ever get off work the same time that Camo is not at school, that'd be cool, because then there'd be 3 of us again.
Yay. I was trying to get Anadul. I think that's how you pronounce his
I thought it was a non-dual. I don't
know. I'm just going to refer to him as Daniel. But Daniel...
Call him Banana Classic.
Or Banana Classic, whatever. He unfortunately wasn't able to make it today. It was looking positive until the last minute. So, but I was hoping...
if he can come, hopefully, next time, that'd be cool.
Although it was probably a good thing, because then you guys probably would have just talked about your
I was actually really excited about him coming, because I was like, somebody who finally understands, and they didn't come. Now I'm stuck with you.
Yeah.
You made jokes about disabled children.
And the irony is that one of my little sisters is disabled too. But that's another story.
And that's why,
no, that's why I think it's so funny, and I'm so desensitized to it, because I'm just used to it.
People on the internet are going to be like, oh, you think that's an excuse for being offensive? Because you have a disabled sister, you think you can make fun of disabled kids? It's not cool. I agree with you, internet. He's an awful person.
It's all fun and games.
Until somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, until somebody gets hurt. No. It's all fun until somebody gets hurt, then it's hilarious. Anyway, we gotta cut before I start losing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Have a good day / night / morning / whatever time.
Have a good time, Internet.
Yes. Stay classy.